Alright, what's up guys? So I know this video looks a little bit scary. It's about 1 a.m. I just decided to do this video. So today we're gonna learn how to do the color grading like the Peaky Blinders movie. Now let's say the inspiration that we're gonna use is this photo, and I'm sure you've seen this photo before. I'm not gonna put it on screen because it's 1 a.m. and I just want to edit this, post it up, and go to sleep. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's just get into this. But before that, I gotta let y'all know that this channel is sponsored by Peaky. No, I'm playing. Alright, so I'm gonna use this photo of one of my friends, and I'm gonna keep going back to this photo for, you know, just to make sure that I get all the colors and stuff correctly, right? So okay, so the first thing that I like to do is to go all the way down to the lens correction, and we enable profile corrections and chromatic aberration. We just get rid of all that at the beginning, right? And then you can also see that I shot on the Sigma 50mm 1.4, so you get that nice blurry background. Alright, so now we are gonna get to the colors. So I usually see a lot of very crushed blacks and very some greens, a little bit of yellow and orange, and tiny bit of red. Just like I have a little bit of red right there. You see? Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna push the hue of the blue primary to about -40. Right, and then that looks nice. And bring up the saturation to maybe like 25. Looks good. Okay, and and then we're gonna go to the greens. I'm gonna bring the greens down, and then you'll see after, when I go to the hues, why I started from here. It'll make sense in a little bit. We'll bring down the greens, and then we also push the greens up to the darker greens, maybe like 20 is fine. Bring the saturation of the reds up a little bit, just to add that little touch of red in there that I was talking about. And then we push the reds up also to, it looks cool, man. You push it all the way up, you get that teal and orange thing. I don't like that though. I'll probably keep it about 35. Looks kind of safe. Yeah, feel me? Yeah, 35. I'm okay with 35. Alright, now we're gonna go to the sharpening. Okay, so I want to try this one time, just because I'm always super afraid of the sharpening tool. I'm gonna bring up the details to 40, and then sharpen the image to 40. Jesus. And then you want to get rid of that noise, and we shot probably, this is like ISO 800, so there's a tad bit, you know what I mean, tad bit of noise that you could get rid of with just adding luminance from the noise reduction thing. That is quite nice, you know what I mean. I don't know, man, shit happens like that. Yeah, and then I'm gonna bring the radius down so they get closer. The noise reduction thing, you get rid of the radius, which means that the noise parts that are like the separation amount and noise parts. This is weird. It's a good thing. Just do that. All right, cool. And then we're gonna go to the luminance, right? So again, we go back to that. So we have greens, we have a little bit of red, orange, and yellow. So luminance is basically the brightness of each color, right? So like, look at this. So we bring the reds up, we bring the oranges up, and then we bring the yellows up, and then look for maybe like for the blue. You see like how bright the blue is, right? How bright the aquas are. And there's no purple, right? Okay. So what I want to do is I only want to touch the reds. So we want to bring the reds up so it's a little bit brighter. This is not that much because we want to brighten it, and then we're going to bring the saturation down so we have a tiny bit of red, but we already touched the red primary down there, right? And then oranges as well, we bring them up, and yellows as well, bring them up maybe to 30 is fine. Bring the red greens down because we want it to have like a little bit of green in there, and we'll bring the aquas down. Remember that? What was his name? Florida. All right, and then we go to the saturation, right? So we want everything to be desaturated. Everything in the movie is super desaturated, very sharp, very dark, dark moves. And then the other thing that I forgot to mention is that that movie probably has like more than eight different kind of like, you could make like 8 different presets just to, you know, for that movie they probably made like 8 LUTs that they keep changing and see which one looks better, but I'm just making one just for this photo, right? Okay, so bring the saturations of the reds down to 50, the orange same, maybe even more. I'm happy with that. Apologies, the pizza arrived, so I'm gonna post this on the gram because this is kind of funny. Alright, so let's go back to the photo again. And then we want to bring, so we were talking about the colors, the saturations in the photo. So again, we are bringing every color down because again, everything in the movie, in the series, is very desaturated. Roy might be like, yeah, the purple and magenta doesn't really matter. They were like the stupidest color in Lightroom. Lightroom can just remove those 2 colors, like they don't exist, you know what I mean? Okay, so we want to make the reds a tiny bit, what is this? A tiny bit darker with the hue, and then we're probably gonna little orange darker, and then get that like a little bit of like a tail look, you know what I mean? Let me see. Yeah, I think we're going the right way. We'll see though. And then the greens, so we're gonna add the greens to the photo, right? Yeah, maybe like 60, 65. And then we're not gonna touch the aquas really. I mean, we could, but then I don't think it will really, you know. So we're only gonna bring the blues down to teals, and then purple and magenta don't really matter. Okay. Now the tone curve. Now usually people do like a S curve or whatever, but this is kind of like a weirder type of thing. So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one would be our 5th one, right? Okay, so we're bringing this up a little bit, bringing this up a tiny bit, we're bringing these down, and this one down as well. And now you can just see the difference between the two. We're getting there, but not quite yet. And then the movie, again, because it's not just one, so there's like different LUTs that they use, in which case we're doing photos, so presets. They have one that they add this beautiful fade to it, and it's just so nice, but like I'm not gonna do that one on this. So we're gonna leave the tone curve right there, and then we're gonna come to clarity. Now you gotta remember, clarity brings down the saturation of the photos. We're gonna bring up the clarity a lot, because the movie is like super sharp, crisp on the sides. So again, look, so you bring up the clarity, it desaturates the photo. That looks fucking horrible, right? So probably 35 max you could push to. Let's look at this photo. Yeah, 30. I'm gonna leave it at 30. All right. Now this is a weird thing that I'm gonna do before I continue on that. I'm gonna go to split toning. Where's split toning? Oh, there it is. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add probably like about like 3. Okay, 5 is fine. So we're gonna add le bleu, right? We're gonna add a le bleu. In the highlights, and then in the shadows we're gonna, okay, so you can add red, right? You can add red for that tiny bit of red that we talked about, but I want to do green because I see some greens in the other photos from that Peaky Blinder series, but I think that green looks a bit nicer, you know what I mean? Why do I turn British every time I do something? Okay, so, and it gives it like a moodier look comparing to the red, right? I mean, I think so. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the green, man. But you can try with the red. The red is definitely nice. We're gonna maybe like 6. All right, cool. Alright, I gotta have this photo in front of me because I don't want to, you know, miss. So, okay, so highlights 181, saturation on 3, and shadows 115, saturation on 6. Now, this is something I do not really like to play with because it scares me a little bit because I'm not a very balanced type of person, so balancing anything else would also give me anxiety. So I don't want to do that. Alright, so I'm done with the tone curve. Now it's gonna get a little bit weird here, right? We're gonna put the saturation all the way up to 50. I know, it's crazy, right? He's also not bankrupt. And then we're gonna bring the saturation down to like probably 40 maybe. Yeah, I'm good with that. And then we're gonna get a little bit of that black thing in there, the black pause. Whoa, whoa, so many jokes. I don't know. we're gonna add a little bit of the black. We're gonna bring the blacks down, so we add like a little bit of punch to the photo. We're gonna bring the whites down as well, so maybe like 35. That looks good. And then we're gonna bring up the shadows to compensate. Nice word. I like compensate. Cool. And then we're gonna bring the highlights down to probably -50. Yeah, that looks good. I'm happy with that. And then contrast, again, contrast also desaturates your photo, so now you understand why we did what we did with the clarity and then the colors and desaturating the colors, and then we use the split toning to add these colors together so it looks like a, you know, okay, so we add the saturation, we add the contrast, but now it looks a little too, it's super punchy, which I'm not really complaining about, you know what I mean. So we can just bring up the exposure like by 10, and then I want a little bit more of light in the eyes, and I'm not gonna get weird on you guys and go to Photoshop and, you know, do that crazy stuff, you know what I mean. So I'm just gonna do it right here in Lightroom so you guys can just follow along and, you know, probably get the same effect. Yummy. Okay, so what usually when I work on the eyes, I like to add probably about 30 or between 30 to 50. I'm going to do 40 on this one. No contrast. We don't need contrast. You add a little bit of highlight so it just jumps out a little bit, or at least, again, that's how I feel. And then you want to add a tiny bit of clarity in case you misplaced the what is it called, the adjustment brush. In case you misplace it and you add that clarity, it brings down the exposure, so you don't really have to worry about it that much. It's not, you know, I'm not creating perfection, and I'm fine with that, you know. Yeah, clarity. And then I don't like how the whites are like taking over the whole image, you know. So I'm gonna bring that down. I'm gonna bring the highlights down a little bit as well, and I'm gonna bring the exposure down, but then the exposure affects it too much, so I'm gonna keep the exposure up there, and the shadows is also too much. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it right at 35, and then for that, so we have the orange, we have the red, we have the yellows, we have a little bit of that blue, we have a little bit of that green that we talked about. Now white balance is something you could play with, but you gotta be very, very careful with it. So because that movie is like very moody, and, you know, you could play a tiny bit, but I'm not gonna do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna come to the tone curve and bring the tone curve in the dark side up a little bit, and then maybe add a little bit of fade, and then the highlights, we bring them down, 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 down. Cool. And then kind of, you know, to balance the whole thing out, which is, yeah. And then I want to get rid of a little bit of that red, so I'm gonna, yeah, 5, maybe, well, yeah, -40 is fine. And then there is a lot of scenes in that movie that has like a beam of light just coming through. Sorry guys, you know, creator's life and stuff, entrepreneurship, this is crazy, right? I know. Alright, so a lot of the scenes in that movie, they have a little bit of like light beam coming through. Now this photo is probably not a very good example of doing such thing, right? So I'm just gonna copy these settings and yeah, I'm good with all that, and then go to another setting, another photo, right? Okay, so this is the before, and we just add this preset that we just made, and bam. Now presets is just the beginning of your editing process, right? You can't just apply a preset and be like, all right, I'm done. So for this one, we need to bring the whites up a little bit and bring the shadows up a little bit and the exposure up. The whites is too much. Yeah, we're gonna keep it right there. Maybe even, yeah. Now for this one, you can add that graduated filter, where you can just, it's just a little extra touch to the photo. And so for usually for the beam of light that I like to add to the photos, I put it up to 50 to 70, somewhere in there, and then I really just basically just play and see how it looks, because like you can see what you're playing with, which area and how much, and you know. So it's a very cool tool you can have, right? And then I come back and I go to the white balance of the actual photo and I go down. So it kind of balances it out, but just a little bit of touch. Yeah, so we can just keep that photo and then try it on one more photo that I have of my friend as well, and we should be done after that. Sorry guys, my computer is a whole mess. I want to have a photo. It's the original photo. Now we're gonna add that same setting that we made just now, and then just adjust the things a little bit. So the brightness up, the whites up, the blacks a tiny bit up, and then that graduated filter, we just put it up here. But then it makes more sense in this photo because now you can see where the light could actually be, but it was a very cloudy day that day, so it didn't really, you know, we didn't have that much of light. So bam, I think it actually looks cool. One is cool, and then you put this on a 4x5, which is to maximize the Instagram photo ratio, whatever crap they're doing, because I'm so mad at Instagram. But yeah, that's about it. And then export and you're good to go. That's the Peaky Blinders editing tutorial. I'll see you guys in the next one. Please like and subscribe, and let's just get to the video. If I can get this dumbass computer to start recording the screen, because I've been sitting here for like 15 minutes. That's a lie. It's about like 2 minutes. We had a little bit of malfunction. I got hungry, so I just ordered food. Hello?